DMX in that class. Did you hear when Nori got on somebody's podcast? I think it was Brandon Marshall, and he said that he was the hottest nigga in the world in 1998 or something like that.
In '97 until DMX and Cannabis popped up. That's actually exactly when that hot streak ended. Is Cannabis and DMX specifically popped
Big
up. So he
Pun,
was still hot.
Big Pun
Pun
popped up
too.
too.
But Pun wasn't even buzzing as high. Like if in '98, if you want to rank the buzz level, it was Cannabis, DMX, Pun.
I was in Atlanta. I was here in Atlanta in
I was in
'97.
Charlotte.
And I remember Nori jumping on shit, and I don't know what it was. Maybe just his delivery. He had a dope delivery, dope voice. He would jump on records, and this ain't the Nori that people hear like the "Hey now you're an all star" and like da, da, da. It wasn't that Nori.
Right.
Nori was
This
actually
was
jumping on tracks like spitting, and
I'm
yeah,
leaving.
yeah,
Off the Firm album. That was the moment because
yeah.
people who hadn't heard the War Report and didn't even know, like, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of that was Nas just showing love because Capone got locked up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Nori did have his moment, and I understand like revisionist history. People will go back and look at what came out, but in the moment, and again, I know we get things a lot slower down here, and he from Queens. They probably had a whole bunch of mixtape stuff that we never even heard that was going on at that time. But even from what we heard, the Nori buzz was even getting down here.
So Mike, let me ask you something because I wasn't in Atlanta at that time. I was in Charlotte. I would just come down to Atlanta like during the summers or like holidays and stuff. But Charlotte has always had a real heavy like rap scene, East Coast, New York
Right.
based influence. And there were like shops and stuff where I was getting mixtapes and stuff from. So I was hearing a lot of Nori shit, and people in Charlotte were hearing a lot of Nori shit. Like we had access to that stuff. And there are just a lot of New Yorkers in Charlotte. I think that's
Right.
part of the influence of it too.
So what were you gonna ask me?
No, I was going to ask you just like what was that vibe like down here in Atlanta in terms of your access to
Oh,
stuff like that? Because I can
I
remember
got you.
hearing Noriega and Nature like on mixtapes and stuff. And 50, Mike, 50. I
There
remember
were
hearing them on
places
songs. Yeah.
there were places you could go to get your East Coast fix here in Atlanta. Atlanta was very mixed, and we were really supporting like our local artists. So we're talking about 97, 98 ish. Goody Mob and Outkast was still king
Right.
when it came to mainstream rap shit. But on a local level, it was more so well, I don't even want to say local. I guess it stayed local because Kilo started working with, Organized and got that deal with Interscope, but Kilo was still running the streets of Atlanta. Raheem and Kilo, that's when they was going back and forth in
Raheem, yeah.
'97. And so there was still a lot of that locally. The Addict crew started emerging, putting stuff out. We start hearing about the Young Bloods and things like that. And after Pac died, though, and you know what? I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this. Master P was really huge here.
No, I
That's
remember
one of
that
the
coming down
reasons
here.
why Pastor Troy was able to do what he did, when he came through and he dissed, Master P, because Master P had a huge following here in Atlanta. But most of that, to me, I think is because Pac was gone and we were really big on Pac. And I think Master P saw an opening where, a lot of Pac fans, I saw it, like just gravitated to Master P because Master P was showing Pac love. And really, his approach to certain things weren't too far of an off kilter from what Pac was doing. But I think when Pac passed away, the West Coast influence or the West Coast connection to Atlanta kind of cut off, other than the fact that you had, Too Short out here. You know what I'm saying? But see, that's a little different. That's the Bay. But when
No,
it, you know what I mean? And I
no,
know
no, no.
Pac's
I
kind
get
of the
you.
Bay too, but you know what I mean.
No, you're right. You want to know what? My older brothers who were raised down here, even more than I was, because I did spend some time down here. It was earlier childhood and then like early adulthood, like teenage years were in Charlotte. But they spoke to me about Pac's influence down here. Pac had a heavy influence down in the A. My brother smoked a blunt with Pac once. They did security for him, did security at a spot one time, and like they smoked with him and stuff. He was a small dude.
Pac, I didn't know until years later that Pac actually lived in Decatur. So that's crazy. Like throughout this whole time, Pac was actually in Decatur. I was watching Jeezy's Uncensored on TV One, and Jeezy said the last time he ever cried was when he got the news that Tupac died. Like he was a big Pac fan, and Georgia
Mike,
was big on Pac.
Mike, I thought so much of him that even when I heard that he had got shot again, I just knew he was gonna survive.
I did too. I didn't
I was
think
like, it's
anything of it.
Pac.
I
It's
didn't think
Pac.
anything of it. Like, you think these guys are
Can't
superheroes,
stop
man?
him. Yeah, they can't
Yeah.
stop him.